Our guy TJ Watt nominated for an ESPY Best NFL Player. He'll go against three other nominees: Cooper Kupp from the Rams, Aaron Rodgers from the Packers, and Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. And Ike, as much as I love TJ Watt, I'm telling you right now, I know how this works. If you could place a bet on this, go to betonline.ag and take Cooper Kupp. They're going to pick the Triple Crown winner. As much as I love Watt tying Michael Strahan's single-season sack record, they're going to go with Cooper Kupp, the LA guy. It's an LA-based awards ceremony. I would argue TJ Watt is deserving, but I think that the ESPYs are going to go with the LA product and Cooper Kupp. Do you think I'm nuts?
No, I don't think you're nuts at all. They're definitely going to go with the home team. But it's deservingly that he should get it, to be honest with you. To have a Triple Crown is hard. He's one of the few to ever do it in the NFL, and we're talking about Cooper Kupp. Now, TJ Watt also is one of the few to do it, and we talking about sacks who tied Michael Strahan. But Jonathan Taylor, too, had an absolutely tremendous season as a running back for the Indianapolis Colts. But it's just going to be hard. Not only I'm in L.A., but I did something only a few in the history of the NFL ever did when it came down to that wide receiver position. And the ESPYs are in L.A., you might as well go ahead and give me the Triple Crown, and you might as well give me the ESPY Award as well, too. That's Cooper Kupp.
Yes. So the Triple Crown has only been achieved 16 times in the NFL's 101-year history, only 4 times since 1970. Jerry Rice, arguably the greatest receiver of all time, in my opinion, he is the greatest receiver of all time, became the first modern-era receiver to do that when he won the Triple Crown in 1990. So Cooper Kupp coming off a 2021 season where he had 145 receptions, more than 1,900 receiving yards, and 16 touchdowns. The Triple Crown winner. I'm telling you right now, if you can place a bet on this, take Kupp, go on and get your free money. BetOnline.ag, our sponsor. But I'm going to argue for Watt, even though I don't think he will actually win. But here's my argument would be for Watt. And I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. He ties Michael Strahan's single-season record for sacks, despite the fact that he missed 2 games. So he played in 15 of the 17 games. There were 3 games in which Watt played where he played fewer than 50% of the Steelers' defensive snaps. There was a 4th game in which he played only 55% of the team's defensive sacks. And, oh, by the way, the last 2 seasons, he's led the NFL on tackles for a loss. So he's not just disruptive as a pass rusher, he's disruptive as an edge player, both in the run and in the pass game. So that would be my argument for Watt, because, Ike, we've said this before. Had he played a full season, I don't think it's a stretch to say that he would have gotten a 30-piece, 30 sacks in a single season. That's how good he was a season ago.
Nah, I'm not going to disagree with you, but what I will say, it's just hard to beat the Triple Crown, Mark. It's hard to beat over 140-some receptions. It's hard to beat 1,900-some yards. It's hard to beat 16 touchdowns. And by the way, man, I'm the one that really won us the Super Bowl in that 3rd and 4th quarter when it came down to the LA Rams. Like, that's when I woke up. So Cooper Kupp not only, did what he needed to do in the regular season, but when it came down to the biggest game of his life, he played the best at the most clutch times. We had like 3 series where Matthew Stafford, all he did was look for Cooper Kupp. Sean McVay said, hold on, OBJ is hurt. Man, let me find a way for Cooper Kupp. And guess what? Every time they called Cooper Kupp, he picked up. Every time. So, and they wind up winning the Super Bowl. So it's just hard. I ain't gonna say not to give the ESPY to Cooper Kupp, but it's just so deserving, Mark. Like the man did everything you could possibly want a receiver to do plus more. So that's why he got paid what he got paid all season. Like, and really that's not even enough. It's like, how can I pay you more? You done gave me something more than I can ever imagine. You gave me what you gave me in the regular season. You balled out during the playoffs. We get in the biggest game where everybody in America and the world watched the Super Bowl. In that 3rd and that 4th quarter, especially in that 4th quarter when it came down to like the last 3 drives, you just took off. And you don't say a word. You hand the ball back to the referee. You go out and celebrate with your teammates, and you go to the sideline. Now, once I get on the intercom with you, and I get you for a post game, you break it down like a coach. Like Coop, just different, man. But he showed why he was different this year. and I love TJ. If TJ would have played all 17 games, and we talked about this on our show, Mark, TJ probably would have got close to 30 or 30 sacks. He would have broke the record easily, but he missed it too. But at the same time, man, it's just hard not to give Cooper Kupp that ESPY.
Like, I'm so happy you mentioned the Super Bowl title as well. We can't discount that. And he's an offensive player in an offensive league. Like, the league has changed, whereas before, we know the importance of defense, Ike, but the obsession with fantasy football and everything too. Now, Rodgers and Taylor.
I had this discussion yesterday, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
The league changed for the regular season on the offensive side. When it comes to the playoffs, it's all defense. And the reason why I say this, Coach LeBeau didn't open his playbook until we got to the playoffs. And everybody, the league, it's an offensive-driven league. No, it's not. Because if you look at what the score was with San Fran and Green Bay in the playoffs, it was like 13-10. If you look at you heard Sean McVay when they did the LA Rams documentary, when he was asking for the big plays, he wasn't saying Matthew Stafford. He wasn't saying Cooper Kupp. He said, AD, I need you. AD, I need you. AD, I need you. That's Aaron Donald I'm talking about. When you look at what Tom Brady did in that year we first came to Tampa Bay, but they wound up playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but that was all defense. So it's an offensive-driven league for the regular season. But when you want to win championships and it comes to the playoffs, that's when the defense wake up.
Taylor talking some Wednesday wisdom. Unbelievable, Ike. That was well said.
No, I had this yesterday, and I kind of thought about it, and I broke it down just like how I just broke it down right now, Mark.
The other two nominees, Aaron Rodgers, had a very good regular season. Jonathan Taylor, more than 1,800 yards on the ground. My argument would be this. With Rodgers, I just don't see them giving it to him, especially given that the other Cooper Kupp won the Super Bowl. And then Taylor, nice 1,800-yard season, but looking back at previous ESPY winners, if you're not going to give it to a player when he eclipses 2,000 yards, why would you give it to a player when he eclipses 1,800? Not to take away from Taylor's season, but
right.
Just looking back at history.
Right. No disrespect to Aaron. Like, what? Aaron Rodgers starting to look like a regular season quarterback. That's what he's been doing, looking real good in the regular season. Playoffs ain't been looking too good for AR-12. Jonathan Taylor, there's no disrespect, but 1,800 yards is, not a lot of people don't get to see 1,800 yards as well, too. I know that two-piece, that 2,000 sound better than that 1,800, but you just said it best. If you couldn't give the man who had 2,000 yards, an opportunity to get the ESPY, it's hard. It's hard to give it to a guy who has 1,800 yards. And there's no disrespect to Jonathan, you know what I'm saying? But that Triple Crown, man, I think you nailed it on the head when we first got on the show, Mark. That Triple Crown, that ESPY Award is going to go to Cooper Kupp.
I'm just trying to put some pocket into the coin for our listeners and viewers, Ike. So if you could get on this bet, I'm telling you right now, take Cooper Kupp, maybe throw it into a parlay because it is inevitable he will win the ESPY. And we'll look back here later this summer when they actually have the award ceremony. I'm going to say, hey, I told you so.